We know the big talking points are Lachie Neale, Ben King, Zach Merritt, and a couple of other free agents that are on the move in terms of Zach Butters and Zach Bailey potentially as well. Let's start with Lachie Neale because he's one of the most wanted men in footy. It's an amazing story, isn't it? He's always had contract weirdness, I would say. He left Fremantle with a year left to go on his contract. A couple of years into that time at Fremantle, he considered, whilst in contract, going back to Perth. And then he re-signed only 6 months after that took him through to where he is now. Now he's out of contract. He's an unrestricted free agent. I still have Collingwood right at the front of the queue for him. He's spoken to the Magpies, Essendon, St Kilda, West Coast, and Fremantle, Richo. I still have Collingwood as the leaders.
And is that because they got more coin to spend?
That's a big part of it. I think Essendon's offer is as big, if not bigger. And Essendon's offer is part of their reach out to Lachie Neale as well as a coaching role post-career, which I think he has interest in, and that Luke Hodge role that they've been looking for. Brad Scott met with him prior to Brad Scott getting the boot in May. So that was part of that pitch, but I still have the Pies right at the front of that list. Ben King is a fascinating domino in all of this because go back to Darwin, things were pretty rosy at the Suns when they're in Darwin. It hasn't been rosy since, and they haven't won since then. 6 losses, but also
no wonder Dimmer wants to get out of there.
That's a whole nother story. The 2 games in a row in Darwin.
Yep,
it is absolutely, and you can see, as you say, Bruce, why the footy club and particularly the football department want to scale back their investment in playing a couple of weeks in Darwin. But at that time, Ben King was about to stay. So he was about to sign a 2-year deal, which had a trigger basically for another 6 years at about $1.35, $1.4 million. Since then, he's pulled that back, and Hawthorn is looming large for him. As a restricted free agent, the Suns can match that.
So what changed? It can't be just the downturn in form.
No, it isn't, and it isn't that at all. Throughout this whole year, he's been umming and ahhing about it, and there's always been the pullback to Victoria from him. He's only ever done 2-year stints at the Suns, so that's why the 2 years through to 10 years would have been part of his thinking this time around. His partner is keen to get back to Melbourne as well, so that's a part of it. And I think that throughout this period, he's been weighing up the lure himself, and Hawthorn is the fit that he sees if he does depart where he'd want to go.
So what would happen at Hawthorn? Because I look at them, you got Lewis, you got Chol, you've got Deere, you've got Gunston, so someone's going to miss out, aren't they?
Yeah, so Lewis is out of contract as well. He's got a 4-year deal that's recently been upped as well from Hawthorn, so they want to keep him. They see a world where they can have Mitch Lewis and Ben King playing the same forward line. I think from their perspective, they see Ben King as the long-term replacement for Jack Gunston, and that stay-at-home forward, work your angles inside the forward 50 and work in partnership with Mitch Lewis. But if you're Cal Shadir, who's also out of contract, you're probably waiting, aren't you, to see what happens.
Absolutely.
And this is the domino effect because Joel Amati is in that group as well at the Swans. They'll be without him, and we'll ask Jeremy Laidler soon about what the future holds for Joel. But the Swans have reassured him that he can take up that 5-year offer for as a free agent for them, but Carlton has some interest in him. So there is a lot of people waiting on these top dogs to make their final call.
Just back onto the Suns, to Richo and Campo, it might be oversimplifying it to say 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, but how much does it sort of hurt the Suns' brand if this downturn in form continues, if they miss the 10, and then if Ben King and, say, Bailey Humphrey both walk at the end of the year, given the amount of good work they've done in the last couple of years. Maiden finals appearance last year, young group coming through together, all seemingly settled and happy to stay there. It would seem in the back half of this year, a lot of that great work could be undone.
Yeah, I'm probably the other way, Beaver. I think you're never that far away, and I think it can change quickly.
They were the youngest team on the weekend,
yeah, exactly
by the way.
right. And I'm not sure Damien's quite got what he wants in terms of how the game needs to be played and their game style, implemented 100%. We saw an uplift last year, which obviously can happen. And he's gone a little bit more attacking, bit more transition type. But the thing that worries me is around that midfield group. I mean, that's as good a midfield group as you've got. And they're 18th from clearance. Like, that's a staggering number from that part of the ground. So,
which has to be system, not personnel, doesn't it?
Well, it's never one thing either, Beaver. Like, having sat in that chair, it's never one just thing.
The whole Rao injury in State of Origin killed him too. That is the worst thing that could have happened for Rao. His ball handling and winning ability.
Yeah, but I think ultimately next year, let's say King Bailey Humphries goes. I still think they've got enough talent up there to cover those guys. Yeah, they might be a little bit younger in terms of what's coming through, but if Walter stays, he then gets a better opportunity. You've still got guys that are coming through there. Leo Lombard can jump into that Bailey Humphries, range. He's already playing some games. He'll mature again. I still think they've got the nucleus of a really good side up there that they can change and tinker. And knowing Damien Hardwick, he won't leave any stone unturned.
It is a unique scenario, though, isn't it? Because Matt Rowell, the Brownlow medalist last year, was meeting with clubs, and until probably July was seen as a reasonable chance to leave. He ended up signing for 2 more years. He went on to win the Brownlow medal. Now they've got a potential Coleman medalist who's potentially departing the club as well, through no real fault of the club other than just where it is. This is a challenge that they do face.
And the Giants have had that since the start. I mean, they've lost good players every single year, and then they replace them with draft picks and get more good players in. But it's not ideal. I mean, you've developed these guys, they're at their peak, and then they leave. Can I ask one that's on the board here that I'm really interested in, and because he's young and he's 3 years into a career and has taken a massive leap this year, and the way he plays and his athleticism is what every team needs in Darcy Wilson.
Yeah.
If I was a Saints fan, I'd be getting very, very, and this is not to have a go, Beef. I'm watching him. We're doing a lot of Saints games on Sunday, and I go, this guy's got to get signed up.
Yeah, he's as modern as they come as well,
exactly.
Isn't he? He suits everything that teams want in their midfielders at the moment. The run, the dash, the skill, kicks goals, can mark.
Added the goal kicking, yeah.
Yeah, 25-2 on the weekend, wasn't it, Bruce, against the Bombers? So speaking to clubs around this, and there are a lot chasing him. I think literally every club has called his management throughout this year to say, what's going on? Why isn't he signed? The message that has been consistent all the way through, and again, very recently, is that he would prefer to stay, and this is the vibe that he's giving off there. And I still think that's the most likely scenario. He just hasn't been rushed into it. And in not rushing, his price is going up and up by the week. So if you're willing to play it out and also play like he's playing, I don't think it's going to hurt him. In saying that, as we saw with Nzai Wanganeen-Miller last year, until you're signed, you're not, and other clubs will continue to bash down the door. But at this point, I feel like speak to the clubs who are in the market for him, their view is that the most likely scenario is that he stays. In saying that, though, North has a lot of money on the table for him. Adelaide is chasing him really hard. You speak about the Crows midfield mix; he'd be super for them.
Great for them.
And the Cats too, as a country region, he's a country boy, are certainly trying their best too. So I don't think St Kilda will be priced out of it, because they know that you have to pay up for one of their younger players and younger guns.
Why is Nick Daicos' name on the screen?
Well, I got this question a little bit earlier this week as well. So, look, sometimes you have to report things that happen knowing that they're not going to happen right now. So what happened recently is that Gold Coast, who have a number of, as we just spoke about, a number of clubs coming for their players, asked the question back. So they reached out to the management of Nick Daicos and Robbie D'Orazio and said, what are the chances? Because last year, a number of clubs also reached out to either Nick Daicos directly or Robbie D'Orazio through his management during the trade period last year and asked themselves to see if there was any chance. So the links here are that Nick Daicos, Josh Daicos, the Daicos family have extended family in Queensland. They holiday a lot and spend a lot of time on the coast, in season and out of season. Gold Coast were actually the one club to formally interview Nick Daicos through his draft year. They took him through their facility whilst he was up there at one point, and he really enjoyed that at the time. And it was actually a decision he weighed up during his draft year. Do I nominate for the Pies as a father-son or enter the open draft, where if he was going to enter the open draft, the Suns had told him they were going to move up to number one pick and draft him and find a way to get up to the number one pick. He didn't end up going that way, but they were the club that also bid on him, Beaver. So there is links there, and their interest in him has remained consistent, and they've made that clear. So yes, every club would be interested in Nick Daicos. I get that, and he's not going anywhere at the moment. But a free agent in 2029, if you're not planting the seed now to start someone thinking about it, if you're going to do it for anyone, Richo,
that would be the biggest contract in AFL history if he leaves Collingwood.
It would just be, we need to take a break, so we'll keep our responses short. It would be Gazza Jr. 20 years on, wouldn't it?
It would be.
We couldn't believe that
100%.
the little master was going to leave the blue and white hoops.
With a bit more CPI in it.
A lot. It's just you can't picture him not in black and white stripes. Though,
well, it's because of the name, but yeah, you're right.
Which was the same with Ablett and Geelong.
Yeah, you're right.
Won't happen now, Beaver, but a couple of years, who knows?
You're telling me it's a chance.
Yep, Dumb and Dumber.